Hey guys, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day, whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening. I'm glad all of y'all are here. First thing I want to do is just welcome anybody who's new to the channel, who's stopping through, or maybe you've been through a few times. I appreciate you. I am humbled that you take the time to watch my videos. I really appreciate it. If for some reason you've got the time and you haven't had the chance yet and you're so inclined, if you hit that subscribe button and that bell notification icon, it'll help me out and notify you when I release new content and go live and stuff. And I also want to give a special shout out and an extra thank you to all the channel members. Thank you guys and gals so much. I appreciate you all. And today I was going to do kind of an updated top 10 EDC fixed blade knives in my collection. And the caveat in my collection comes back to everybody's going to have different uses for their knives, right? For example, my primary carry today is an out the front. Most people probably aren't carrying an out the front today. A lot of people are probably carrying a much more substantial fixed blade instead of a folding knife. But the reason I point these out is I live in a city, a very urban environment. I carry a primary folder, typically will carry a slip joint in my left pocket, and then I carry a small fixed blade. And both of these little guys, both of these little Hurricanes, this Hurricane Mini in Magna Cut, and this Hurricane Standard in S30V, are both set up to be worn as neck knives. I have put a small ulti clip on these and carried them in my pocket, but when I wear a button-down shirt, a dress shirt, I keep this just like I would a pin in my shirt pocket. It doesn't look any different, but when I'm wearing it around the house and I've got on jeans and a regular shirt, I just use a titanium and a steel chain. They're breakaway chains, so they're not going to choke me out. And these are just great utilitarian auxiliary cutting knives. I can pull this knife out whether it's under my shirt. I can use it to open packages. I can use it to dig splinters out of my hand. I can use it to cut into cardboard, cut into packages, cut cord. I wouldn't want to process a lot of cardboard with it, but I could definitely use it to fend off some undesirable trying to take my Slurpee, because literally it's just a little poker. Super sharp, super stabby, super pokey. When I look at a knife like this, I don't look at it as having the geometry to be a long-term slicer, right? It will slice, but I look at it for more of being kind of a detail cutter, right? So if I need to get in there at that point, or poke through at that point, or poke through several times with that point, or go in and cut open an Amazon package. I've got this nice Tonto blade, which works very well for opening stuff, for cutting string, no matter what it is. It's just, they're great little knives. Made by Amsler Tools here in the great United States of America by a guy who makes them in his spare time. This is not his full-time job. I'm trying to get him to come join us on Javon's Knife Flicks, because he's got another knife that he's working on, and I want him to bring it by and show it to you guys. But coming in at number 10, just because they're so small, they take up no space. This one's going back around my neck, and they're just very easy knives to carry, and they're very easy knives to use. So one of the things you'll find about my EDC fixed blades and why I carry them and the way that I carry them, a lot of times I will find myself, for most of my cutting tasks, which are not that detailed, if I'm going to break down a bunch of cardboard, or if I've got a task that I've got to complete, cut down bamboo shoots in the backyard, I'm going to use a more specialized knife for that, a knife that's more beefy, that's more set up for it. But on my EDC daily carry knives, I want to have small, classy, little knives that I can whip out kind of secretly if I need to. If I need to cut into a box, or if I need to cut out something more detailed and I don't want to break out my X-Acto knife at the office, this little knife will do it. If I need to pick a splinter out of my finger or a scab off my finger where I sliced myself, and for some reason it's not healing the right way, it's got this little white bubble under it. But that's another story. But this is what I call it, a mini JKal. It carries some characteristics of the tripper and the gripper and the jimping, but it's got this super tall, flat ground, beautiful, beautiful slicey blade with a pokey tip. Very nice micarta handles that are a good width, bringing this handle out to probably right around 1/2 of an inch, maybe a little bit less. For a lot of these small knives, this one feels the most substantial in hand. So yeah, you're at 0.55 by 0.59. So for a small knife, I look at that kind of as an advantage. I carry it in this MKM leather slip. I've got a couple of carry kits for these. It magnetically holds it into place, and then this strap comes across where I could carry it as a neck knife. I throw it in my back pocket, guys. That's the only way I carry it, in my back pocket, or if I'm not carrying a slip joint, in my front pocket. This sheath is plenty well done to where it's not going to poke through it. It is a thicker grind, but it is a pokey grind. Slurpee Saver Extreme. Thick blade stock, but yet a nice hollow grind. So if I'm having to get into Amazon packages, if I'm happening to open mail, if I'm happening to cut through a bunch of tape, if I need to cut through some paracord to tie something down, cut through some rope, whatever the case may be. Guys, I don't cut a lot of stuff, but I can tell you that cutting paper, cutting cardboard, cutting some of the things that I cut on the daily kind of give me an idea of what I would be up against, for example. So I won't dox myself. Again, I wouldn't want to process a ton of cardboard, but could I make this knife work to get work done? Absolutely could. Cut into my mat. But they're all sliced little knives. See my little cuts? I love character on my mat. But that is the Jason Grant JKal. I call it the mini. I've got so many different size and shape JKals. I don't like to break them down as much by size. I imagine this is a 4.5, maybe a 5-inch. It's the easiest way to come. Yeah, this is a 5-inch JKal. That's the easiest way to identify it. So the 5-inch JKal, great little EDC for my usage knife, a little supplemental. Can be a 5th pocket carry knife if I want it to be. It can be a drop in the back pocket knife if I want it to be. Sitting on it is not a problem. I just tuck it in like that. It's absolutely solid. There are a lot of places you can carry it, guys, but a great little knife. So is the MKM, but I just kind of preferred that guy. That's why I let it use its sheath. So moving on, we come to, if I'm not mistaken, number 8. And number 8 is a knife that I would not even have brought into this, except it is definitely one of my most carried knives. I used to have it on a strap. I've since put it on an ulti-clip. It lives in my back pocket. This is the Servant Knives Simpleton in 3V, super thick blade stock, full tang construction, fantastic flat grind. Very, very sharp for a thick grinded blade. It is up for what you have to cut. And should you have to use it as a Slurpee saver, it is powerful. And the reason it is, and the reason I think it fits my hand so well, I can get a full 3-finger grip plus a 4th on the ball. The ball, to me, at the end of this handle, keeps my hand locked in. If I put a short lanyard here, just a short, maybe a 4-knot and a bead handle, just to let my pinky wrap around it further, the 3 fingers are what's holding this knife. Everything else is just extra stability. And on a reverse grip, my thumb caps that, and it makes it to where this knife's not going to slip a bit in my hand. It is the Servant Knives Simpleton. You can't find anything on their website. I've got an old certificate of authenticity. You can't find anything on their Instagram. However, a good buddy of mine, who shall remain nameless because he is a part-time private detective maybe, he found out that this guy is still on Instagram. And if you look at his bio, you will find out that he plans to be making servant knives again in early 2024. He had taken some time off. I don't know if there were babies involved. Didn't ask. Did reach out to him via DM. Did tell him how excited I was that he was coming back. I'm sure he doesn't check his Instagram much because it was his personal Instagram. But I was just kind of hoping that I could share with my audience if he was, because his knives are truly special, guys. This was gifted to me when I traded for another knife, or it may have just been gifted to me outright. But very well done. I'm very glad to see him come back in and offer his skills to the community. I mean, these things don't rattle. Just absolutely perfect. But this is the Servant Knives, little bitty, short. I'm going to say it's about maybe 5.5. Let's see. Hey, look at me. 5.5 inches. 5.5 inches overall. It's going to come in at number 8. Great little knife. Let's move along to number 7. Number 7 is an interesting little knife, guys. This is a knife that I was not sure how much I would utilize it. When I first had it with the short ulti clip, it was a little bit weird. I tried it as a neck knife. It wasn't too heavy because I've got some micarta handles for it. However, the micarta handles, I'd need to reform the sheath to make it as tight and resistant as this one is, because this one you can literally eject. It's so well fitted to the sheath. So what I did is I got this deep concealment carry clip and mounted it. I had to mount it a certain way because of the hardware that I had, but mounted it at an angle so that it canters off, so that when I put it in the center of my pocket, the center of my back pocket, set it down across that hem, the knife canters out towards the outside of my body. So for example, when I reach around, I don't have far to reach because the knife is coming out of my pocket like that. So it's really worked out well. It's a great little knife. Griffin Company makes these. This is in S35VN, OEM by Bestech. Very able little cutter for such a short blade. It's got the same shape as a 2.5, as the 3.0, as the 3.5, and they're folding knives. So that's kind of the design that has evolved into their folders, starting out with the Scout 2.5, then this little Scout Medic. I love this little knife. Super light, super minimalistic, great EDC knife for me. If you lived in Alaska and were in the backcountry, it might not be the perfect knife for you. 5 inches overall. But again, I like a little knife, and I cannot lie. That is a banger. I'm a huge fan. Moving on from there, I think that brings us to number 6. And number 6 is a knife, or knives, that I've picked up from my friend Paulius. Can't pronounce his last name. Baltic Blades out in the Baltics, Lithuania. He makes these knives in his garage. He sells them for 99 lira, I think it is. I think it came out to be like 110, 115 shipped. they come packaged amazingly well. The presentation for these little knives is off the chain. Paracord, you can pick the color of paracord. You can pick a stonewash finish. You can pick a neo scale finish. This is something he does prior to heat treat, some kind of wrap. So you can kind of customize the knife to your liking. This is the Angis Gen 2, where the blade is a little longer. You've got much more jimping. It's N690, fits in your hand perfectly. The paracord gives you something to hold on to. I've been asking Paulius, because he does some bigger knives too at Baltic Blades. If I remember, I'll try to link his Instagram in this video. But if not, just go to Baltic Blades on Instagram. That's his IG. But I've asked him, since he's working with handle materials too, and you guys might be able to tell me, if you've got blanks cut out with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pretty large holes, wouldn't it be possible to offer a scale option utilizing 2 of those holes to hold the scale down? Or would you, I know it's ideal to have a smaller hole through the blade, but I didn't know if there'd be a way for him to maybe make some smaller scales, offer them as options where they could be installed, you know, wherever. Just a good thought. I mean, I love a skeletonized knife for very light tasks, and the paracord does make it a little better. The knot's great. The knot's kind of what I'm talking about on the servant knives, just something to let your finger keep from dangling too far. But these little guys are bangers. I've got one of them I carry in an Oak City leather sheath, and I've got another one I carry in the little Kydex sheath that ships with them. Both of them are great. Great little EDC knives. I like them a lot. Coming in right around number 6, which will bring us, if I'm not mistaken, to number 5. And number 5 is the Griffin Co Scout 2.5. This is the first one. Check this sheath retention out. This is the first one that I brought into my collection after watching Stas's video and Stas's cut test and Stas's overall enjoyment with this knife. It is also OEM by Bestech. It is S35VN. It is what I consider the perfect sized EDC knife. Little taller grind, sharp blade, super sharp, multiple grips. It works great in. It is not a large knife. However, I can get a full 4 fingers on the knife. If you had a bigger hand than me, much bigger, you could still get a full 4 fingers on the knife. You just hang off the end here. It also has a place for a small lanyard if you wanted to tie it off on it. This guy is going to be bigger, where our others was 5 inches. This one's coming in right at 6.5 inches, which, to be honest with you guys, is on the larger size of my daily carry. So it would be very possible when I carry a knife like this, I'll probably carry a folder to fidget with, but I could get by and do sometimes carry just my slip joint and my fixed blade. And the Scout 2.5 by Griffin Company is one of those that I do carry by itself. Fantastic knife. Usually rides in my back pocket, but does ride in my right pocket as well. And that's the Scout 2.5. So moving on, we come to a little knives that used to be my one and done. They are still in my top 5, coming in at number 5, and they are the Jakeb Creates Chickadees. I love these little knives. The first one I was able to get was this one. Bought it from Lefty with Kyle Coonley's edge on it. It's in Magna Cut. Then I was able to pick this one up, or actually I picked this one up first from Honey Bear in S90V, full flat ground blade. I bought some scales for it. And then I picked up this Arctic Sunset from, I want to say, DLT maybe? But all of these guys are small, 3-finger knives for me. Look at Kyle Coonley's edge. He's a show-off. But guys, I've got Chattanooga Oak City leather sheaths for these as well. However, I carry them most times in their little Kydex sheaths that they ship with and the strap that they ship with because they carry so well. They're balanced in such a way that when I put this on my belt, right to the right of my belt buckle, it canters perfectly, doesn't get in the way of anything. I don't even feel it. If I need to, I can move the strap forward a little bit if I want it to ride a little bit higher. But typically, I just keep it at 90 degrees, a little bit less, rides up like that, carries invisibly. I mean, literally, I will forget I have it on. Almost got into a situation when I was working for the last company of walking into the airport with it still on my belt, and then knew I was going to be taking my belt off, and luckily had time to go back to my car and drop it off. But these are the Jakeb Creates Chickadees. They come in multiple different steel variations, multiple different finish types, multiple different handle materials, and Jakeb also makes bigger knives. If I remember, I will try to remember to leave a link in the description. If I don't, check out Jakeb, Jakeb, Create, Creates, on Instagram, and you'll find these. And Chikadee spelled Chikadee. There's no C. I learned that the hard way. Moving on, we are going to look at what, if I'm not mistaken, is, hold on, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. That was number 4. The Chickadees were number 4. This is number 3. And we'll lay those out when we finish up, but I just counted them out. This is the T.Kell Piranha. Now, I know a lot of you guys are saying, John, you're showing a lot of little knives. Guys, that's what I'm into. I've also got a T.Kell Combatant, which is about yay long, a T.Kell Raider, which is about yay long, and a T.Kell Outer Limitless Accomplice is about this long. So T.Kell makes larger knives. I just like smaller knives because I carry them as an enhancement to my daily carry, right? I carry it in my back pocket, carry it on my belt. This little knife is done so well because of the way the handle and the choil give you that extra purchase. I was always and always will be a Chikadee fan, but if you look at these two knives, yes, the Piranha is a good bit larger. However, when you look at them in overall carry capacity, your Chikadee's 5 inches, your T.Kell is 5 3/4. Your grip area on the Chikadee is 2 1/2. On your T.Kell, if you go from the inside, it is 2 3/4. If you go from the back, it's 3 1/4, 3 1/8. So it's really easy to see how the grip ergonomics really give me, and I would guess most people, better purchase on the knife. It's done very well, has a really nice swedge. It is done in 80 CRV. It is also treated with a nitron borite coating. This is not stonewash. That's an actual metallurgic process where this is applied. It not only ups the HRC, the main reason for it is it cuts down on corrosion, cuts down on any type of scratching. They use this extensively in the pew industry. I don't know if you can tell, but this is CNC ground. So you've got your CNC milling lines pretty much polished out, but you can tell they are there. So all these knives are perfectly balanced, perfectly done. I'm a huge fan. I've got another set of scales for these that I really like. However, I haven't reformed the sheath. It doesn't feel quite as good. These feel better. So this is the T.Kell Apprentice. Right around $150 knife. Fantastic little guy. Runs great. Rides great. It's number 4. Gets a lot of pocket time. Which brings us to number 3. That brings us to number 2. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, this is number 2. And then we'll look at them all. So guys, y'all have seen this knife before. This knife has not lost any luster in my collection. I'm actually trying to get a third one. This is the T.Denney Apprentice. The bottom one is a Gen 1 in what they call vintage micarta or vintage caramel micarta. It's pinned together. It's got an acid etched Magna Cut full tang blade, super thin. The second one is a Gen 2, which has screw-on scales. These are G10. This is a satin finish in crew wear. And you'll notice the other thing that he upped in the Gen 1 and Gen 2, the plunge line has moved back about 1/8 of an inch from the Gen 1. And what makes these knives, in my opinion, truly amazing is this one's going to be a little louder because it's got the acid etched blade. That's the Magna Cut. This is the crew wear. Guys, they're scalpels. They're scary sharp. And they're light. They carry great, whether you carry them in their own little clip or you carry them in an Oak City leather sheath. They are detailed as you want. They should really be number 1, but number 1's a special knife that means a lot to me. So for the time being, these guys, the T.Denney Apprentices, which now I have 2, I promise you, before it's over, as long as T.Denney, Tyler, keeps making knives, I will keep, when I can afford to, buying his knives, because I'm a huge, huge, huge fan. Absolutely love them. Think they're great. Carry them all the time. But that brings us to number 1, guys. And this knife has made my pimped out knife list. This knife has made a lot of different lists, right? It is a one of a kind Colin Maguire Mag 10 KnifeWorx, Mag 10 USA. I don't know if you guys can see that carbon fiber when I get that UV light close to it, but it is done, that 80s is done exceptionally well. I want to say it's fat carbon. You've got G10 pins and a G10 lanyard hole. You have got this beautiful belt satin, hand ground little work of art that is a Wicked Wharncliffe. Has this really detailed swedge, has this really unique point that comes down to an absolute splinter digger. The handle feels so good. I'm going to say this is going to come in whoops. .46. The blade stock on this guy is a svelte .0985. Behind the edge of this ABEL is .0170. Its handle feels like it was made for my hand. The jimping is a little bit sharp, but I think you would want that for what it's designed for. I don't think it would become problematic, and it would definitely come in handy if you were wearing gloves. Did I get out 2 pieces of paper, or did I get out 1? But guys, this is a slicey knife. It's a beautiful knife. It's made by a guy who I met in Nashville, who lives in Maine, who every time I post his knife on Instagram or on or comment on one of his posts, He's what I consider a major knife maker with major skills whose knives command kind of a premium price. He does a lot of stuff with Damasteel and a lot of stuff with custom Damascus that he makes. I want to say this was in the $350 range, but he is so humble, like a lot of the makers I've met. Anytime I compliment him on one of his knives, he is so thankful when I tell him it looks, I mean, he's genuinely doing it because he loves it. And if he can make money doing it, that's great. This one's got lime green liners, 80s carbon fiber, and it's got that ABEL or whatever that steel is, blade. And then we're going to lay these guys out and see if we can remember the way that we had them out. I think it was 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to go with one of these. Then we had 5. Then we had 6. 7. And I might have mixed up 7 and 8. 8. 9. And finally, let me just reach up under my shirt and we'll just pull this out. 10, guys. So that's the Amsler Tools Hurricane Razor. Let's get these spread out a little more. Just a hair. So we've got the Amsler Tools Hurricane Razor. My little blade's a little magnetized. Amsler Tools Hurricane Razor. JKal 5-inch, what I call Angry Street Cleaver. The Servant Knives, Simpleton. The Griffin Company Scout Medic. The Baltic Blades, Angis Gen 2. The Griffin Company Scout 2.5. The Jakeb Creates Chikadee, this one's in MagnaCut. The T.Kell Knives Piranha. The T.Denney Apprentice Gen 2. And finally, the Colin Maguire Mag 10 USA Mag 10 KnifeWorx with an X. EDW, which is the model number of this beautiful knife. Guys, I hope you found that informative, educational, helpful, somehow entertaining. And again, if you've been here that long, guys, thank you. If you're so inclined, please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification icon. If not, that's fine. Just come back and watch my videos. I hope to continue to put out videos you want to watch. But I do love each and every one of you, and all I ask is please look out for the guy or gal to your left. Please look out for the guy or gal to your right. Please look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart. And choose debate, not hate. I love you all. Be up. Peace.